Welcome to Phantom Forces. This guide is for PC players, so things may not be the same on console. This guide is also for new players, so it may seem redundant for experienced players. Chances are when you first open the game, you'll see a screen that looks like this. Starting from the top left, you'll have the deploy button, which will spawn you into the game. Below that is the squad deploy menu. Clicking it will open up a list of your teammates. By clicking on them, you can spectate them. While spectating, you can hit deploy to squad spawn on them. If you want to use a default map spawn, you will need to click the same teammate again to stop spectating, then hit deploy. You might be asking what the green squares are for, or the bars next to the names of your teammates. If you don't want people to spawn in on you, click the green square next to squad deploy to turn it black. If you only want specific people to spawn on you, click the green squares next to teammates and it will turn black for that person only. Any squares that are green mean that person can spawn in on you. The colored bars represent the status of the teammate. Red bars mean the player is not spawned in. Yellow bars mean the person is in combat. The green bars mean the person is currently safe to spawn on. Note that it will only be yellow if the person is being suppressed or shot at. You could spawn in on a person who might be spotted or is about to be shot. Try to pick someone who is behind cover or is flanking. To close the teammate menu, click the squad deploy button again. Weapon loadout will let you change what you have equipped. Inventory will let you look at and manage cosmetics that you'll earn while playing the game. Customize is useless. Settings will let you configure the game to better fit your playstyle and performance needs. And server browser will let you leave the server. We will get back to these later. The lower left has the game chat. Ignore it until you need it. The top right has what you currently have equipped. The bottom right has the map and the game mode that you're playing, and a box to vote for the next map and game mode by clicking on it, and then the options in the center of the screen afterwards. Some maps are changed by the type of game mode that you're playing. Further below are your current pool of credits. You can get more by leveling up, selling skins, or being the MVP in matches. In the bottom center, you will see your stats. It tracks your progress and doesn't matter too much outside of seeing how far you have to go until your next level. Go ahead and spawn in. When you do, you will see the heads-up display. The top left has the kill feed. It says who killed who, with what, and at what distance. Try to look at it once in a while when you kill someone to get a measure of how long a stud is in measurement, so you can know when to engage targets with which guns. In the lower left, you have the type of game mode, the score for the match, radar, and the chat. Your team is always the color on top. In the lower right, you have your ammo, health, and grenade count. In the center is your crosshair. It'll change depending on your weapon. When you die, you will return to the main menu. Try to win the game mode and help your team while also trying not to die. Depending on the game mode, these challenges will be one and the same or completely different. So don't feel bad about throwing yourself at the challenge. No one likes it when you hide in the corner, not your team and not the enemy team. So don't be afraid to play the objective. Pause the video and come back after you've played a match. Welcome back. How was it? Did you get your ass handed to you? Don't worry. Happens to everybody. Let's take a look at what we can do to make your odds of winning better. First, you gotta optimize, well, your options. Click on Settings. Under Game, turn your FOV to 120. If you have a high DPI mouse, change your sensitivity to 1.2 and a multiplier to somewhere between 0.4 and 0.7. If you have a low DPI mouse, have your mouse sensitivity set to 2 and the same multiplier of somewhere between 0.4 and 0.7. Move to the Display tab on the right. Make sure kid-friendly damage, ragdolls, first-person bullet casings, chat, and day-night cycle are disabled. This helps with visibility. Make sure you have Roblox Frame Unlocker installed and running. I don't care what excuses you have, don't be lazy. Get it? It's free. The game might say you're getting 60 frames, you're probably not. Without it, you will have frame stuttering and extra lag. Link in description. You also want to optimize your lobby. In the main menu, you'll see a button for server browser. Click that. You should see a screen like this. The first button, play, will send you to a random server. Don't click that. Ranked doesn't work, and neither does my servers. Click on server browser, then click on search. A window will appear with a list of maps, game modes, and server regions. Pick whatever game modes and maps you like, or none at all. But make sure you pick 2 to 3 servers closest to you. Click where it says time remaining so you can find a match that just started. The larger the number, the better. Once you've found one you like, then click it and click join. This is what's known as server hopping. Just one last bit before we talk about weapons and equipment. If you're in a rush to level up or find yourself losing a lot of games, you might want to put more thought into the game modes you play and who you're playing with. As for what game modes to pick, here's what you can expect from the most popular game modes. A lot of people just play the game like it's Team Deathmatch. So, let's look at Team Deathmatch. It's rather a slow way to level up, but it'll net you a lot of kills and teach you how to fight anywhere on any map. Kill Confirmed has a bit more experience to gain, with minimal loss in kills per match. King of the Hill has great potential for experience, but only if you're with a good team and cycle your playstyle. You can't camp the hill or the enemy spawn. You have to switch between the two. Capture the point, leave, kill the enemy before they can take spots capable of camping your spawn, then take the hill again when it's recaptured. If you stay on the hill too long, you'll be overrun and your streak will end, or the enemy will fear retaking the hill. Capturing it gives more points than defending it. If you focus too much on killing the enemy and never taking the hill, you make yourself a target. You and other people looking for kills will be found and pushed back to your spawn. King of the Hill has the highest potential score, but also the most frustrating experience of trying to find a good team. Tag Run is fairly new, and because of that, there's no telling whether it's better for experience or kills. Turning in tags gives less experience than taking tags in Kill Confirmed. I think because I tried to play it for experience instead of kills, I had a worse time. So, if you want more or less free kills, you could camp areas where people turn in tags, but don't expect to find cooperative teams in Tag Run. If you have trouble finding the objective, usually it's marked with a large letter that you can see through walls. You might have heard me mention bad teams a few times, but how are you supposed to tell if a team is good or bad before playing? I'll tell you. When you first join a server, you want to be on the lookout for red flags. Check the squad deploy drop-down menu. If half or more of the team is AFK or has red next to their name, that's a red flag. When you spawn in and the enemy has a huge lead, it's a red flag. Check the leaderboard by holding tab on PC. If half your team has 0 kills or the other team is simply larger in number, that's a red flag. If you look at the map and see that all of your team is hiding in one place, that's a huge red flag. If you see 2 or more of these, it is time to server hop, find a different game. Now that you've hopefully found a good game mode and team, it's time to pick up your weapons. It doesn't matter what map you're playing, pick any gun you want, and most maps accommodate any class. But you'll find your favorites. There are no such things as sniper maps, or vice versa. Maybe in a future video I'll explain how you can use guns at ranges people wouldn't expect, but for now I'll be focusing on weapon strengths. It's up to you to figure out what you need and when from what's available. From rank 0, you get a fair selection of weapons. I usually compare all other weapons to these when talking about balance. The first being the AK12, under the assault tabs. You might think that this gun is best served at medium to long range, and you'd be right if you had a good set of attachments. But with 0 kills, this gun shines in close range, where you can use its hyperburst without missing. I've made 2 videos that are both outdated on this gun, and I've learned more since then. It's got a great native move speed that's useful to get up close. Use the V key to switch from full auto to burst when you're approaching tighter rooms and hallways. Then switch back to full auto when you expect a mid-range engagement. If you can't get a handle of the burst mode, it's okay to use full auto until you get the attachments to control it. Try to go for headshots. If you can get one, you can lower it to a 3-shot kill, which will help a lot, being that the other starting weapons either have more damage or fire rate. Here's a build you can earn in a day that will reduce the burst recoil so you can make use of the highest fire rate at rank 0. You can equip attachments by clicking weapon loadout, then attachments. The sidebar will have the slots for attachments, and the top bar will have the types of attachments for that slot. I chose vertical foregrip because while it does hinder the aim down sight speed, it is the only early game foregrip that reduces the vertical recoil. It'll also help with close quarters when you eventually bump into someone while rounding a corner. Since the vertical grip helps with vertical recoil, the red laser complements it by reducing overall recoil and increasing hipfire accuracy. Ignore the crosshairs, put the laser on your target, and fire when spraying it from the hip. Obviously, there are better builds for the AK12, but the loadouts provided today can be built with 150 kills or less. New players might get discouraged when someone tells them the only way to use a gun correctly is to get over 1,000 kills with it. Any player ought to be able to get 150 kills in a day and have fun with what they unlocked. Second is the M4A1 under the Carbine tab, which sacrifices the AK12's longer 4-hit kill range in exchange for a guaranteed 3-hit kill range. Here's a recommended 150 kill loadout. The default suppressor was picked so that way you can still take advantage of those longer ranges and smoother full auto recoil. The MP5K under the Scout and PDW tabs is good for getting up and close, especially if you don't want to learn how to hyperburst with the AK12. It has lower damage and range but compensates for that with a lower recoil and comparable fire rate. The 150 build increases aim down sight speed and makes accuracy slightly worse, but enough to not affect it, taking into account the ranges you're supposed to be using this gun at. The Colt LMG under the support and LMG tabs has much more range than any of the previous weapons at the cost of movement, handling speed, and fire rate. The 150 build makes it aim faster, masks your sound and radar presence so you can keep engaging targets at long range before being spotted, and you can also shoot through certain walls. For secondaries, you start with the M9 and the G17. The M9 looks cooler, but the G17 performs better and has a clearer sight picture. Just put a suppressor and red laser on both. You might need a red dot on the M9 if the sight isn't clear enough for you. I don't know why the G17 glows and the M9 doesn't, but what can you do? For grenades, you start with the M67, which is good for clearing enemies behind cover on a higher floor, and dynamite, which doesn't fly as far but has a larger explosion radius for defensive purposes. There are no claymores in this game, so use grenades with longer fuse times when you know someone is following you that you can't beat in a gunfight, whether it's a shotgun spammer, a high rank, or more than 2 players, mainly when you don't have any nearby cover before running back to find more. Or you could rush them blind at corners with the starting melee weapons. The knife, crowbar, and hockey stick are the best in their categories, or you can go with bare fists to move faster. As you go up in melee range, the stranger the melee hitbox will be, so I'd recommend either the knife or bare fists, unless you feel like memorizing the way how the crowbar swings or the hockey stick swings. It's very peculiar. Now we'll be quickly covering the next level since I've already done more in-depth videos on these weapons recently. If I don't address something, it's probably because it's not good and you should ignore it. The KSG is good at close range, will level you up quickly, but will also get you vote kicked quickly. The M14 is like the Colt LMG with faster movement, fire rate, smaller magazine, and more recoil. The MK11 is great at long and medium ranges. The MP412 Rex, well, I forgot to make a video on this, it specializes in rewarding headshots, but can reliably 2 and 3 hit kill to the body at most ranges. The 150 loadout will be using the flash hider and the laser on the Mars red dot to reduce recoil, and the speed loader to get you back in the fight faster if you end up missing some shots. The UMP45 plays like a battle rifle with next to no recoil at the cost of fire rate and mobility that normally comes with SMGs. Remember, you can try these recommended attachments by buying them in test place first before the main game. The link to test place will be in the description. If you like the AK-12, I would recommend buying armor piercing for it if you can burst at long range, or hollow point if you like bursting at close range. If you can hit heads reliably with the M4A1, try combining it with 25-45 with short barrel. If you want more penetration on the UMP45, try plus P ammunition, and of course the 10mm ammunition for the MP5K. As for skins, you'll want to click on the inventory tab. Here, you can see what keys and cases you own, and right-click to open them or to assign them to a specific gun before opening. You can even open multiple cases at a time if you haven't. If you've been opening cases you've earned by playing, but don't like the skins you have, or you unlocked a skin for a gun that you don't like, you can sell it or trade it in if you have 6 of the same rarity, which I prefer because if you only pre-buy attachments, you'll make a lot of credits over time so you can get better looking skins, which is really the main reason to play this game, unless you want to play competitively, but I doubt it. Make some fun and wacky loadouts, get some great looking skins, get good, and I'll see you next time on Net Rancher.